Welcome everyone to this open day meeting at the Stockholm School of Human Rights and Democracy of the University College Stockholm. My name is Linde Lindqvist, and I'm senior lecturer and vice dean of the Department of Human Rights and Democracy, which means that I teach both in our bachelor program, which runs in Swedish, and then in our brand new master's program in human rights and democracy, which will begin in the fall of 2021. So my own background is that I've done all of my academic studies in human rights. I did a master's degree in human rights at Lund University, and then I did a couple of internships, both at the Swedish Ministry of Foreign Affairs and then at a human rights organization called the Raoul Wallenberg Institute, before I returned to the academy and did a PhD in human rights, again at Lund University, before I came here to Stockholm to work with Enskilda Högskolan or University College Stockholm. So I just want to tell you very briefly something about this program and about what it means to study human rights and democracy at our school. So I think my own reason for choosing human rights as my field of study was mainly because I've always been interested in questions of the place of human beings in society and how we can realize ideals of equality and justice and freedom within imperfect societies. And I've also always been interested in why it is that certain groups of people sometimes become discriminated against, become exposed to grave forms of injustice, of oppression, and sometimes even of violence to the point of genocide. So that's an interest that I've carried with me and since I was a very small child, actually. But when I was applying for university studies, I was struggling to find something that really sort of appealed to me. I knew that I was interested in human rights issues, but what it was that really kind of got my attention when I wanted to, when I was searching for an education, was that in an interdisciplinary human rights program, you get to focus on all these themes related to human rights and democracy, using very different types of perspectives. So in the program that I attended and the program that we're launching this fall at University College Stockholm, we study human rights and democracy from both a philosophical, a theoretical standpoint, and then from a legal standpoint, and also from a social science or political science standpoint. And so we try to switch between those different perspectives in our study of very current issues of human rights and democracy. And we also try to integrate such perspectives to see what the sort of legal discussion of human rights can learn from a more philosophical and a more political science discussions of human rights. So I think one reason also for applying to this program is that it gives you a very sort of broad base for pursuing a wide range of different careers afterwards. So our students tend to end up in very different places. You would have people who would go on to nonprofit organizations like Amnesty International or Human Rights Watch or something like that. And then you will have people who end up in private companies working with questions of corporate social responsibility, for instance. You also have people who end up working with government agencies at different levels. So both at the kind of, Ministry of Foreign Affairs level and different embassies around the world, but also in local settings, in municipalities and regions. And then you have people who start working as journalists or as entrepreneurs. And so with a degree in human rights and democracy, you have a very sort of broad base of tools and perspectives that you can use in various settings. So this is not an education where you kind of, where you all will end up at the same place. You can think of this as an opportunity to develop skills that you can then use and polish for the rest of your life. I think an additional reason for applying to this program is that you have a number of different opportunities to specialize during the education itself. So we have a couple of courses that we call Human Rights and Democracy Clinic, where you get to work with other peers in the class on a project that you yourself design. So it could be a project about how to sort of strengthen the right to education in a very specific local setting somewhere. And then you have to sort of think through, okay, what kind of measures can we take? How do we finance that kind of project? And how do we know when the project is successful or not? So you have to think through all those kinds of steps, and you have to cooperate with others in the class. And you also have the opportunity then to, of course, write a large master thesis. The entire final semester is devoted to a master thesis that you also design for yourself. So there's many of different opportunities to specialize in things that you yourself find to be of particular relevance. So what this education is really, to a large degree, decided by you. That was pretty much my introduction. I now want to leave the word to our head of studies, Tiana Todorovic, who will give you more kind of real facts about what how the education is structured, how to apply, etc. We will have a Q&A at the end of this open house meeting, and that Q&A won't be recorded. But for those of you who are watching this afterwards, you are free to pose your questions via email to either me or to Jana. So you'll find our email addresses on the University College Stockholm webpage. All right, so Tiana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Linde, and welcome to the open day at Stockholm School of Human Rights and Democracy. My name is Tiana Todorovic, and I am head of studies and also previous student at University College Stockholm, where I took master's degree in human rights. So I'm just going to begin with a brief background information about our school, who was founded in 1993. And it was actually at the same year when United Nations decided to call on the member states to educate their citizens in human rights. And in Sweden, there was no official program in human rights at that time. And until 1996, when our school, together with Democracy Academy and the Swedish Foundation for Human Rights, started the educational programs. Today, our school is one of the Northern Europe's leading institutions in human rights. Our school is dedicated to excellence in interdisciplinary human rights and democracy education and research. The master's program provides you as a student with a deeper insight into how questions of human rights and democracy are addressed within fields like law, philosophy, history, and the social sciences. The program allows also to develop transferable skills such as project planning and evaluation, problem solving, and research methodology. Also professional writing and oral presentations. Here are some of the frequently asked questions that I want to give you answers on. So the first question is, what are the necessary prerequisites to study the master's degree? The applicants must have a bachelor's degree in human rights studies or another related field in social or political science, law, or the humanities. Students with undergraduate degrees in the natural science, engineering, or medicine are also able to be admitted to the master's program, but you would need to demonstrate a proficiency in human rights, for example, by professional or voluntary work or activity. You also need to submit a CV and letter of intent. The master's degree is approximately 2 years long, and it's 120 credits program. Our program is given on campus. It's not able to study by distance or online, but due to the situation with the pandemic, all courses are given online for the time. You can take the first semester courses as independent courses, and they can also be credited later if you would like to start a program. If you're an international student not living in Sweden, you are required to pay a tuition fee for a semester on campus, and that tuition fee is about 40,000 Swedish kroners. Our master's program is an internationally recognized degree. You will receive a diploma supplement with information and statement with the international recognition. For international students, when it comes to financial help, we as school are not able to provide scholarships, but you can apply for scholarship through other organizations, funds, or if you can contact CSN study fundings. So why you should study the master's program at our school? The insights and skill sets gained through the master's program equip the students to pursue successful careers in public administration, international affairs, as well as in private companies and NGOs. And of course, those who successfully complete the course are also eligible to apply for doctoral studies. The easiest way for you to apply is to go to www.universityadmissions.se. Or if you have more questions and need any further information, you can contact us by email by sending an email to humanrights@ehs.se. Thank you. We can take other questions now.
So excellent. I can just clarify concerning the current COVID-19 pandemic. So our plan is to run the program on campus this fall, and starting in late August, early September 2021. Of course, we're following the way the current pandemic is progressing, and we're ready to also offer our courses online if the situation hasn't improved by then. And if it is that it's impossible, for instance, to have on-site education in the fall, then you will be able to follow the courses online and throughout the first semester. But you would have to be prepared to join us on campus, at least from the second semester, so in the spring of 2022. And Tiana, excellent. So here's a rough overview of the master's program. So you see that in the first semester, we start by introducing the different sort of fundamental perspectives that we apply to understand human rights and democracy. So the first course is a course on human rights and democracy as ideas in history, where we integrate a kind of philosophical approach to, and a more historical approach. We think about how these two concepts, human rights and democracy, how they have evolved over time in different political, social contexts, and also how these two concepts relate to one another because they're not the same, really. We often think that human rights cannot sort of be realized without a democratic system. But at the same time, human rights sometimes work as kind of a break, if you like, to democratic rules. So it's a way of kind of limiting the popular sovereignty, the rule of majorities that are sort of the intention of democracies. So I often think of human rights and democracies as kind of frenemies, if you like. They are the best of friends and also the worst of enemies. And that's one of the kind of interesting things that we're trying to grapple with in this program. How do we kind of work with these two concepts at the same time? The second course continues that, but from a legal perspective. So we get to go through the international framework for human rights, but we also think about how human rights principles are codified in national legislations, in constitutional law, and in various places around the earth. And then we have a third sort of fundamental course on human rights in politics and practice, where we think about both bottom-up initiatives to realize the ideals of human rights and democracy, but also top-down perspectives from governments and from international organizations, and also how those two perspectives, the bottom-up perspective and the top-down perspective, sometimes clash and sometimes can work together. And then we have the more practice-oriented courses, Human Rights and Democracy Clinic, Part 1, which is in the fall, and then Human Rights and Democracy Clinic, Part 2, which is in the spring. We also have one course, a large course called Current Issues in Human Rights and Democracy. And this is a course where we try to kind of integrate the research that we are currently doing at the Department of Human Rights and Democracy, and to kind of just drag you as students into to the research that we're doing at the moment. So in the spring of 2022, this course will focus on two topics. And the first is surveillance in human rights. And it's a course that will be taught by Professor Susanne Vigors Yngvesson, who is a professor of ethics. And she's been working for a number of years on this specific issue, like how do we understand surveillance? How does surveillance work in democratic states, and how does it relate to human rights? And the second part of the current issue class is a course on asylum and the rights of asylum and how those rights can be implemented in European countries, and with a specific focus on Sweden. And that's a course that is taught by Maria Bexelius, who's just finishing her PhD on this precise question. So the current issues class will be very intense in terms of it will be a time when you get to meet sort of the experts on these specific issues, and that's part of the idea with that class, that you're supposed to kind of get a feeling for how it is to really work at the front line of a specific research field. The third semester includes one course called Researching Human Rights and Democracy, and this is a class that is in there really to prepare you for the fourth semester, where you do your degree project, your master thesis. So the Researching Human Rights and Democracy class is focused on like methodologies and theories that can be sort of used in human rights and democracy research. But we also make a point of the fact that these things these are tools that are not just sort of confined for academic studies. So if you go working for a human rights organization like Human Rights Watch, for instance, what they will be asking of you basically is to apply the same tools that you'll use in your degree project, but in order to kind of find relevant information and to analyze that information and present it in the format of a human rights report. So it may sound as a course that is sort of only focused on sort of academic, on strengthening your academic toolkit, but we make a point of the fact that those tools are also relevant for what you'll be doing once you're done with the degree. The final course here is called Graduate Seminar in Current Research on Human Rights and Democracy. This is a course where you as students also get to work on your specific areas of expertise. So you get to host like seminars both with us as teachers and with your peer students, and you get to kind of think through how you host that kind of seminars. You get to assign readings, and you get to sort of be a teacher, if you like, and also to kind of drag people into your own field and use your peers and us as teachers as your feedback partners. So it's kind of flipped situation where we as teachers sort of take the back seat, if you like, and become more like mentors and coaches, and where you as students sort of take the lead role. And that's one, I think at least, critical aspect of what it is to study a master's program, because a master's program is all about making you into a master. And you're supposed to go from a kind of passive knowledge of human rights and democracy issues and an ability to sort of perform in exams, and to become a real pro in your field. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've sort of taken a lot of sort of small steps here to make sure that you also become sort of active learners and to build that into the program itself. Okay, I don't know if you want to add something here, Tiana, or you've actually written a master's thesis in human rights. So maybe you'd like to tell us something about that, how it is to write that kind of large project where you work on one specific issue for a whole semester.
For me, to be a student at University College Stockholm, and specifically at the master's program in human rights, it was a wonderful experience. And when I was writing my thesis, I felt, of course, scared and excited at the same time, because I got support from you and our other teachers to choose a subject that I really, really am passionate about, and it was about minority rights. So I was writing about policy analysis on European integration document for Roma minority, and it was a large project, and I always have troubles with narrowing the information. So I really got so much support from you, and Ulf was also one of the teachers at the course, and it meant really so much to have that support and to be able to discuss together with you. And I always received good feedback from you. And the best part, I would say, is that you learn how to start thinking when it comes to research, and how to write, what is relevant, what you need to incorporate in your thesis. And that's something I didn't have at bachelor's level as much as on master's level. So it was really a great experience, and of course to have all of the teachers giving so much support. So it meant a lot, really. And I would also say that students supported each other also. So we had someone to discuss with, and between us, and to give each other support. So that was really great experience. And when you have this large project, when you hand it in, you feel very proud of yourself. So yeah.
And I think what you're saying now also points to a final thing that we should stress here, and that's also one of the reasons why we're sort of insisting on well, that we're still hoping to go back to on-site education this fall, and that's, I think, just the fact that we're very small university, and we have always kind of cherished the nearness that brings in terms of the interaction between students, and also between us as students and teachers. And so I think I did my own studies at more perhaps more well-known bigger universities in Sweden. At Lund University, I did a postdoc at Uppsala University, for instance. But I think one of the things I've learned to love really with University College Stockholm is that you get to you become really close, and you also get all these different perspectives on the issues that we're discussing, because we sort of assemble students from near and far, really, and from all walks of life, and so we often have people who have a couple of years of experience, of like professional experience, who come to us to take the next step in their careers. And that means that they come in with a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge, really. And I think, the setting that we have in Bromma, with a very small college and very kind of close connection between teachers and students, really kind of just facilitates that kind of mutual learning from between students and teachers. So as a teacher, it's like the best place you could ever be, because I often feel that I learn sort of more from our interactions than I suppose that the students learn from me, and I think that's a good thing, especially at the master's level. It becomes so interactive. And I think it's also, I mean, this will be the first semester that we do an English speaking program, but I think it's important to stress that we're already, I would say, a quite diverse community, with people with different ethnical backgrounds, with different religious backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds. We're open also to people with different may have different disabilities and so on. And perhaps Tiana wants to add something about that. How you as if you have a disability, how you can still sort of get the support that you need to succeed in your studies. And it's just really to underscore that that we strive to be a welcoming community, and we hope that if you apply, you should feel welcome to join us. Okay, so I'll leave the last word for you, Tiana, and then we'll open up for questions.
Yes, so I just want to highlight the tools we have for students with disabilities. And on our webpage, you can read more about that under the tab Students, and then you click on Students with a Disability. So Here are some examples of educational support, supporting note-taking in lectures, talking books from the Swedish Agency for Accessible Media, and modifications of examinations, such as extended examination time, individual examination with a computer. And if you need to read more, you can go, as I said, to our webpage, and to apply, you can click on apply here, and then you will be taken to directly to the other page where you can fill in the necessary information. And of course, you can contact us, and we will help you with your application. So that was what I wanted to highlight. And to apply to our program, you can go to universityadmission.se, and you can just choose to write the school's name and find courses and programs, or through our webpage, you can click directly to the link where you can apply to our program. If I have forgot to mention something, please remind me.
I should also say that we don't have an internship class within the program. So some masters do have that. You can spend like one full semester and do an internship at some organization or so on. But we don't have that opportunity. What we do have, though, is the possibility to extend the program with one semester and to take a separate freestanding class called as an internship class. So you can still be part of our school, and you can sort of take a course with us if you follow the program, and do an internship. And then you can, of course, do the internship in an organization of or a company of your choosing. Like, so the idea there is that you find an organization, you make contact with that organization yourself, and then make sure that the internship lasts for I think the minimum is 18 weeks, the maximum is 20 weeks, so one semester. That's the requirement. So that's something you can sort of add to the program as an appendix, if you like, after the fourth semester.
Yes, and you can also study abroad. I don't know, Monica, do we have that kind of information here? Or I was trying to find
international exchange. So
international exchange, yeah. Yes, thank you. So I was one of the students who went to Emory University in Atlanta, and with another student as well. So we went there together and took some courses in international law and human rights. So there is a possibility to have an international exchange, and you can find more information about it at our webpage under students, international students and exchange.
And in the chat, I wrote the link for the internship course, but it's only in Swedish, I'm sorry. But this is what Linda talked about. Okay. So maybe you can find it there in the chat, yeah.
If someone needs help with the information in English, you can just email me. And I will be happy to answer. And this is the email address. Or if you go to our contact page, you can find me and Linde and other teachers and staff under Human Rights and Democracy. And contact us directly.
Okay, I I think that was it. And again, we really hope that you choose to apply to University College Stockholm and to join us in the fall. It would be lovely to have you all. And feel free again to reach out both to Tiana or to me if you have questions or issues concerning your applications. We're really here to help. So reach out.